My name is Terrence Davey, if you don't know by now. And I have a very special guest with me today, my good friend Sean McDonald. What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's up, Terrence? How you doing?
Doing well, man. How are you today?
Good, good. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited.
Dude, I've been waiting for you to be on this podcast since before it existed.
Thank you,
So
thank you. Even though I was like, please have me on your
yeah.
podcast.
Oh yeah, you were just knocking down the door trying to get on my podcast.
Yes,
Um
absolutely.
yeah, man. So I wanted you on here because again, like most of my friends that I keep close to me, you're always dropping some kind of nugget of wisdom on me damn
Oh.
near every time we talk. And I really appreciate and admire the way that you live your life and take care of the people around you. So I just want, I don't know, I want to know more about you and I want the people to know more about you. So
That's awesome,
what's
bro.
up, man? Let's start from
Thank
the
you.
start. Where are you from?
I'm from. Thank you, by the way. That was nice. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri.
Missouri.
But my family moved out here when I was like 4.
Yeah.
And my immediate family, like my mom, my dad, my grandmother, my brother Omni, my half brother Corey, my aunt, like literally only like 7 to 9 family members.
Yeah. So see, this is already me learning stuff about you. 'Cause as far as I'm concerned, you have one brother and one little sister. Because I never really asked you about it. So,
Yeah. I have a brother Omni. He's a musician,
yeah.
and my sister, obviously Jasmine,
Yeah.
and a half brother that I don't really keep in touch with. So
All right. I have a
yeah.
bunch of those. So I won't go down the list because quite frankly,
Okay,
I might not
okay.
remember their names.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So cool, man. What brought your family out here?
Um, my parents were super young when they had us, and my grandfather died, so my grandmother wanted to move to LA and start like a medical business. She was It's like a nursing placement program where she would train and hire nurses, register nurses, and place them in private homes. So I think she knew that the opportunity was bigger. It was better in a major city versus like St. Louis, where it was like really probably racist, and I'm sure it's out here too. But
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so that my grandmother came, and my family followed because um, they were young, and my dad like didn't really know what to do. So it was like go with grandma, at least have a chance and get out of the city, which was going nowhere for them at the time, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you spent the rest of your time in LA?
I yeah we took the Greyhound. I remember we took the Greyhound from St. Louis here.
Man,
I know, right? And then
that's a trek.
we stayed in downtown until my grandmother. We came ahead of my grandmother because she was like moving stuff across country. They had like a truck and stuff. And yeah, grew up in West LA mostly, like in Inglewood, Ladera, Culver City ish kind of area. And yeah, been here ever since. Didn't really go back to St. Louis, so don't really know a lot of the family there. I went on tour once with my brother. Met a couple of family, like met my mom's brother Marlon.
Yeah.
Looked just like me. I was crazy, but yeah,
So you say you went on tour. This was what, Omni?
yeah.
And,
So my brother Omni's a musician, and I used to manage him. It was like Diddy, you know what I mean? I was like the Diddy of the homies, and we used to go out with Fat Lip and Omni all the time, and we would travel the country, and we had a St. Louis stop, and I called my grandmother, and she connected us like with one of my aunts, and then I called my mom, like called her brother and got us in touch with him, but
yeah.
it's a little awkward.
Yeah. So I can't just skip over the whole touring part. Yeah, you might be trying to, but
Oh
I'm a
no, I'm not.
dive. So what was that about, man? How'd you get into doing that? How'd you get
Ah,
into P Diddy?
yeah. So believe it or not, I used to be a rapper. No, no,
I
really, I used to be a
believe it.
rapper, and I discovered early on I wasn't that good of a rapper, but my brother was really talented, and I went to audio school. Didn't really learn much then, but I wanted to be in the music business. Like I still wanted to be in the music business, but I knew I couldn't be a musician. You know, it's like I just knew I didn't have like the skill set to do that. So I decided to start managing, and I was actually pretty good at it. Like I'd book shows back before there was the internet. You know, it's just like send out packages, like literally mail packages to promoters of like CDs and bios and EPKs, and then they'd be like, "Give me a call." So you call Japan, you have to stay up until like 4 in the morning just to get in touch with them, and So yeah, that's how I got involved with that. And Fat Lip would take us around mostly, and I used to manage Merce for a little bit, and yeah, it was a good time. It was a different time for me, but it was a good time.
Yeah.
A big party time, and finding yourself phase, and shout out to Bonnie in the studio. She used to come with us sometimes and stuff.
Yeah,
So
you used to party with him a little bit. Sounds like a good person to bring with you. In case y'all didn't hear that, she said she collected the girls.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's you. No, that's cool, man. All right. So what age were you when you were doing all that?
It was like my 20s. So to keep it 100, I was getting in a lot of trouble, like maybe 15 to 20, like always in and out of like jail and trouble. And I didn't get the opportunity to go to a university. So I went to audio school. And when I got out of audio school, there was like really no jobs available that I thought was worth it at the time. Then you'd have to be like a runner, and you spend like 15, 20 hours in the studio and for nothing.
What's a runner?
Runner's like, like you just get stuff. You're like at the, a lower level, like an intern almost.
Oh, like literally running out and getting coffee and picking up people.
Runner.
Stuff.
Yeah,
I can't see you doing
that. No, but at the time, it's like
Yeah.
I was down, but
Yeah.
I just wanted, that's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be like in the studio and, all this crazy stuff. So I was working through the school I went to, I got an internship at Universal Music Publishing Group, and I worked in their studio department. But what that really meant was I was burning CDs for them. So I did that for like a year, and I was like, it's just not fulfilling. And I ran into my boy Merce at the time, and he was like, I'm going to go on tour. You should come, just like randomly. I was like, yeah, I think I should. I just quit my job and left. And then for like the next 6 to 7 years, we stayed on tour like that.
Man, 6 to 7 years?
Years. Now,
Damn.
it wasn't lavish, but it was fun. We traveled the United States a few times, went to Europe a couple times, Japan like 7 times, Australia, a little bit of South America. I couldn't get into Canada, but I would have went to Canada. And it was a great time, and it was foggy because we had fun.
Yeah.
We partaked in a lot of drinking.
I can imagine. I'm in my 20s now. You let me travel the world for 6 or 7 years, you might not see me again.
It might have been a little longer than that. But it was like on and off. Like we go to like Hawaii or we go to like Europe for, a month. And my brother was making records, or we go here. The touring was anywhere from, a week to 2 months out on the road. And I think my last stint was actually with Bonnie. We went to we did Rock the Bells 08. It was a huge tour. It was like Nas and Meth and Red and De La Soul and Farce, like all of the 90 OGs all on one bill. So I went out good, I think.
Yeah.
Like my last hoorah. I think it was Australia was the last tour we did. It was a Good Vibes festival. That was dope, man.
What made you step out of that touring life?
Money. It sounds great, you know what I mean? It was fun, and honestly, like I wouldn't have done it any other way if it wasn't with like my brother and friends and family, but there's no money on that level we were on. It's like independent artists. Obviously Fat Lip had, probably the most fame at the time, and no, he definitely had the most fame out of all of us, and he used to take us with him, and I think that really opened up a lot of doors for us. But if you think about like the financial breakdown as a manager, even if you're getting like 10, 15%, unless your artist is Jay-Z, not to put anyone's, money business out there, but it was more fun and travel, but you still came home to bills, and that was the problem. You'd be like, shit, I gotta pay rent. And plus I was like, I got to a point where I felt like I wasn't growing up spiritually, but I was growing up like in a sense of like, what am I gonna do at that time? And I was like, I can't be a tour manager forever, or I didn't want to be. So I went back to my audio degree and wanted to try to apply that somehow. Yeah. So then now I'm like older, trying to work in a studio like a 19-year-old, and it's too competitive. For every studio, there's like 2,000 kids that want to work there.
Mm-hmm.
Some are really smart, some, through nepotism got hooked up. It's just a different hustle at the time. And so I ended up getting into television on accident, kind of. Like I started hitting up my friends that were engineers, and I had a friend named Donna, and she was like, I can get you it's like a low entry position at the studio. And I went there and I was like, oh, cool. I thought it was a music studio, but she was working on like a commercial for like Starbucks or something, like one of those like 30-second commercials. And I never really was introduced to that world outside of like a class. And I started doing that, and fast forward, I'm sitting in front of Buff Nerd.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? But no, it was cool. It was great because I was really hungry to learn everything about audio.
Yeah.
And it was like a challenge to me because I didn't have formal like university schooling like that. So for me, it was like I thought it was something hard that I could figure out, and it was like really challenging to me at first. I didn't get it at first, and I just kept sticking to it, and Bonnie actually helped me on like one of my first mixes. She's always been there from the beginning, by the way, and like supporting me to step into roles that I didn't like really believe in myself to do. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, man, you need people like that around you.
We do, because I didn't have a lot of them, you know what I mean, at the time. So it was really important. I didn't really recognize what support really meant at the time, but I had it around me. I just didn't know how to recognize it,
So do you think that was the biggest change from you pursuing a career in audio when you were 19 to coming to pursue it after you were touring? Or did you just realize that life wasn't for you anymore?
The touring had to happen. It's like it had to happen. I had to have my creative, like, fun stories, and if it didn't happen then, I would have been that old 40-year-old touring with a Sean John jumpsuit. And I'm glad I'm not that guy.
I'm glad you're not that guy too. You would be on the show, and I might not have a
little thin gold chain. You know what I mean? And with a receding hairline. But no, it was fun. And I think now that I look back, I think it's weird how like when you don't know like where your life is going or how it's navigating, but you end up on a path you're supposed to be on.
Yeah, man.
So that was part of like my story. Like that led to, me getting into television. Television led into, me mixing. Mixing led to me working at a bunch of cool places around LA, learning with a lot of good people. And that led me to realizing that I wanted to get into content creation just from like the support around me, and just figuring out what I wanted to do at a later age in life. But it all came together.
Yeah, that's so crazy because while that's happening, you have no clue where you're going, man. You're just living life, and then like no matter what choices you make in your life, you will always look back on it, and that was part of your path.
Yeah.
And everything happened as it was supposed to happen. I'd say supposed to happen, like I believe in like fate or something, which I'm open to the idea, but that's just what it looks like when you look back.
Yeah, for me, I had no idea. Like you can't plan for anything, Like I think I spent so much time trying to plan stuff and it didn't work out that I get upset. I had like a lot of anxiety, and through my anxiety, anxiety is like can be very motivational, not always in a good sense, but anxiety pushes you to want to do things like go back to school or like I got to do this, I got to do that. So I spent like a majority of my life like driven off of anxiety, and now it's like to finally be able to put anxiety to the side and have a purpose. It's a different motivation.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. There's a couple of things I want to talk about there. Like first of all, when you're talking about anxiety, what do you mean by anxiety? Like
I mean, anxiety,
like worrying about every little decision, or
let me pull up Wikipedia. Just intrusive thoughts that you carry along the way, and I'll speak on it because I don't give a shit. Like I literally just had this anxiety of like an idea of what I wanted of myself and what I thought I should, and I use that word should because it's like a really fucking negative word, but I should be this. I should have a degree. I should be 6'2". I should, you know what I mean? So when you put the should on yourself and you're not there, the anxiety of that, every day, like you're not where you should be, and comparing yourself, that's what I was driven on for the longest of like my motivation of why I was doing things.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I should be in a house, so I got to get up and grind, or I should be doing this. But that anxiety is really like a factor of stress and honestly like forms of depression. You know what I mean? Like it's built off of something that's not real. It's built off of an interpretation that's only living in your mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that definitely, and I've felt it a lot myself personally.
Yeah.
Like just feeling like I needed to prove myself to everyone. Like I have to become this successful businessman. I have to go to college. I have to do all this stuff while never really taking time to look at what I actually wanted or who I actually was and if that aligned with my beliefs.
Yeah.
And that shit causes a lot of pain, man.
Yeah, it does. I remember my therapist, I go to therapy, we talk about that. Yeah. And I remember she said something to me along the lines of, who's Sean? You know, like, who are you? Mm-hmm. And she was like, no, not who you're trying to be for other people, but like, who are you? And I couldn't answer it. And it's, you know, it's weird to like not be able to answer something like that on the spot. You know what I mean? As like simple as that sounds, like you should be able to go, oh, well, I'm this. I stand for this. I'm this person. Like, I always admire people that were like, they just knew who they were, you know? Even if, assuming they were telling the truth. Mm-hmm. I always like admired that about people. The same way I admired people like yourself, you know, like educated, black man, went to school, just like
tall, dark, and handsome.
Pause. But yeah, you know, it's like, I used to use those types of comparisons to be like, I should be doing that, you know, instead of I can do that or I am doing that. Like never celebrating like any of the victories, just little tiny wins along the way, but not even recognizing them because they were so far off the target that I wanted to be on. I couldn't recognize them.
You know? I feel the same exact way, man. And now I've checked myself into therapy and I'm trying to work through that stuff.
We talked about that.
Yeah. Honestly, you were a huge inspiration for that, along with my girl, Olivia, who's sitting over there. Shout out to Olivia.
Shout out, Liv.
I just realized, like, last episode, I don't have to pretend that people aren't in the room because it's my show and I can literally do whatever I want to. So what's up, guys? Yeah, so how did you start to overcome this anxiety and this doubt?
I mean, I'm not like fully over it.
Well, I say that now. I know it's an ongoing journey, but I say that because the person that I see and the person that I've known, like I've only known you for a few years. I met you in jiu-jitsu, and since day one,
you got tapped out.
Yeah.
No,
whatever, man. Back in white belt days. No, but since day one, I've just seen a person that just. You seem to care more about everyone around you more than you care about yourself, and you like. It seems like your happiness like thrives on the happiness of others, which is like one of the most important character types in human society and one of the rarest. And it's like I see the way you take care of your family and friends, and that shit is awesome. So it sounds like the stuff you're saying right now is like a completely different person. So I'm just wondering how you went from there to here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I used to always look at that as a weakness, actually, like putting people before you and like taking care of yourself. Because I didn't understand like why I did it. You know what I mean? I couldn't. I had no reference of like, well, why do you put people? You know, why do you care if this motherfucker is okay or whatever? But I think I started getting into the therapy probably a few years ago, like around the time I met you. I just adopted my sister. I was starting to dabble with it. You know, Bonnie got me into it, actually, like pushed me to get into it because I thought it was like who goes to therapy? You know what I mean? Like, you know, don't tell nobody your business.
Especially in the black community, man.
Especially in the black community.
Which we can talk about later.
Like, yeah, you know, we're brought up to always be like, that ain't nobody's business. They just trying to put you on meds. They just trying to get in your head and do all this stuff. But really, it's like, you know, I felt like a shell for like the longest time. Like I was existing, but I wasn't living. You know, it's like I wasn't, you could smile in front of people, but deep down inside, you know, I always felt like there was always like this hurt, this pain that I just wanted to deal with, and I didn't know how. And I ran out of options. Like I ran out of doing it on my own. I didn't know how to do it no more. You know what I mean? Like partying didn't work no more. You know, just being like a scumbag wasn't working no more. And I got to the point where it's like I finally wanted to like understand who I was and look in the mirror and be able to like say honest shit about myself. And the crazy part, like I wasn't able to do that up until recently. Like, you know, as an older person, you think it's all about getting it together. And it comes back to the anxiety and like how you're driven and what I should be doing. Like I should have my shit together. I should be happy. I should have a wife. I should have kids. Like, you know, and that is what led me to wanting to like really discover like really like what's going on with me. Like why do I react the way I do or act the way I do, or why am I the way I am, and that road is it's an amazing road, and it's also scary at the same time, because you once you start realizing truths about yourself and you're able to like accept them and able to say them, you know, they're not always a good thing. Like sometimes you discover that you're not always like a great person either. And I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of, is like to realize like, you know, you might be this, you might be that, but ultimately that's okay if you're willing to do the work to change it. Because if you don't want to be that, or if you're not really that, you know, you can redirect that. Like we're not all, it's not like you're a bad person or you do bad things. You're just programmed and you picked up bad habits along the way.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that's who you are. It's like I always knew I was a good person, but I don't know why for the damnness, like for the longest as a kid, I tried to be a bad person. And then I just accepted that this is who I am on my upbringing. But deep down inside, it's like, I'm not. I'm a nice guy. You know, it's like I want to help people. I love more than I love hate. But I just knew how to like do some of the wrong shit a little easier than the right stuff.
And I think it really comes back to what you're saying. When you start looking into yourself and trying to find these truths, sometimes they're hard. And that a lot of the times it is just harder to love than it is to hate.
Yeah.
Like, I personally think all human beings have every possible bad and good trait. Well, bad and good, who am I to judge? But I think we're all capable of expressing any of those traits. And the only way that we can take control and express the ones that are truly important to us is by paying attention and asking ourselves tough questions. Sometimes you're not going to like the answer.
Yeah,
and a lot of people just aren't willing to do that work, man.
Yeah, and it comes at different times, you know what I mean? It's like, I compare it to jiu-jitsu, you know, you'll be able to understand this reference. Like, you get out of it what you put into it. You can't front, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that type of attitude is what I want for my personal life. It's like, I don't want to lie about who I am. I want to be who I am. I want to be proud of who I am. And it's okay that someone can have a past, or you could be brought up a certain way. That doesn't have to define you. And it took me so long to understand that. You know, it's like, we're not, you know, when you say like people are good and bad, true. But I think people are all born, you know, with good qualities. We just learn that bad shit as we go along the way. You know, it's not like, hey, here, you know, whatever religion you believe in, you know, it's not like you're just born, hey, you're half good and half hate. No, you're born, and it's like, this is something that I learned too. You know, we're like an empty jar, and we're just being filled with stuff, you know, and some people are filled with honey and warm cocoa, and, you know, and some people are filled with some really bad shit, you know, alcohol and that type of stuff. And, you know, and then you realize who you are along the way. Well, hopefully you realize who you are along the way. And depending on how much you care, if you're willing to do the work, you don't have to have that anxiety no more. You don't have to stress no more. You don't have to front, you know, like that's what I love about jiu-jitsu. It's like, if someone beats your ass, they beat your ass.
Yeah,
because
you just got your ass beat.
You know what I mean? It's like, there's no line. You can't front. You can't buy that. It doesn't matter like if you're rich, if you were born in a good family, if you have a silver spoon, right? So I applied that same philosophy. Like, I get it. Like, people's circumstances are based on your environment and sometimes how you grew up, and you know, and I don't want that to be the reason that I didn't enjoy life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's like, I don't want to end up some old bitter person who didn't enjoy life because he was too scared to look in the mirror or too afraid to like be motivated or inspired by someone. You know, it's like, I think it's amazing that like you went to school and you're an educated brother and you're positive, and that should be celebrated. That should be cool, and that's freaking awesome. And I want to be someone that is looked at that way through someone else's eyes. You know, whether it's my sister, to be like, ah, he's positive. He did something good for me. And yeah, I love helping people. I love, you know, genuinely being there for people in a real genuine way, not because you want something from them. You know, that's a different kind of help. There's this fake ass help where you want stuff from people, and then there's genuine true help where it's, you know, it's like helping anonymously. That's the best form of helping and giving, where no one knows you did it. You did it because it truly like fills your spirit and fills who you are and makes you feel good about it. So that's where I want to end up at.
Definitely, and you're definitely on the right path too, because like you said, to use your empty jar analogy, we're filled up with all these things from external pressures in the world, but we're also filling up other people's jars all the time.
Yeah.
And if we choose to not do the work and to not, you know, try to express love and to not ask ourselves these tough questions, we're not just affecting ourselves. We're affecting ourselves too, because like I said, not being true to yourself, and I don't know, it caused a lot of pain. I've had a lot of pain in the last couple of years, and it may not be outwardly apparent, but I feel it. Yeah. And then I've been able to go back and look at how that pain has affected other people, just by my actions and the words that come out of my mouth, and like and not being responsible for the actions and the words that come out of my mouth.
Nah, so. I feel you. Like, I've been there, still there sometimes, you know. But I think as long as awareness is the beginning, like you're aware of it, you start getting help. That's a start. It's like a work in progress. I wish there was like a pill or a manual you could take that's like, oh, you're done. Let's go. Here's life. Do steps 1 through 12. Repeat. You know what I mean? And you're good. But you know, it's not a straight line. You're gonna fall off. You're gonna want to do good, and sometimes you're gonna veer to the left. And you know, I think it's just the fact that you're on the journey and we're on this journey. That's the beginning of everything. Like, I'm now just realizing that, like, this is the journey. You know, I've been waiting, like, when am I going to be fucking there? When am I going to arrive? It's like, you're on the journey. You got to, you know, it starts somewhere. And as long as you recognize that and you know that's what you ultimately want, then even if you fall off or don't fall off, you're on that path, you know? It's like, you got to decide, like, are you going to be, you know, a villain or a superhero? You can't ride in the middle. You know what I mean? So I decided I'm going to be a superhero.
Hell yeah, man.
In jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. That's interesting, too, that you say it's about the journey. I know a lot of people say that, and it can be seen as cliche, but it's truth. Because what destination are you focusing on? Because as far as I'm concerned, we're all going to the same final destination.
Right.
And whether that's in the ground or burnt up and thrown into the air or in the ocean, we don't know what comes after this. It might be nothing, but we all know we're going to that same destination. Why the hell would that be the thing you want to focus on?
Yeah. No, man. It's like, just want to enjoy life and enjoy, like, truly enjoy it. Not just say it. Not be like, you know, you ask someone, how you doing, man? What's your automatic response?
I'm good, man. How are you? Doing well.
You know, probably, you know, but if you think about it, most people probably not, you know.
Not at all.
Not that everyone wants to throw their bad weight on you or their damage, but I want to do, you know, we talked about doing stuff for others. We do things for others, and I think we project that what we really want for ourselves on others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, I want to help this person. I want to do this. But when it comes to taking care of myself, I didn't do a good job at all, you know. And now I'm like, I genuinely want to take care of myself. I want to take care of my thoughts and my actions, and I want to be responsible for them. And I want to do it with a clear conscience and know that that's what I want, you know, and I don't want to front. It's like, I know I want to have a purpose here. And, you know, I want to be brave about that shit. If someone asks me, you know, who you are today, I can honestly say I'm a good person that wants to help people, and I love people, and I want to love myself, and I want to love others. And I can say that without blinking. You asked me that 5 years ago, I'd be like, I'll probably tell you some bullshit, you know what I mean? but I don't want to do that no more. That's not living. You know, it's like if you die tomorrow, you want to be able to be like, this is who I am. This is what I want, and this is what I strive for.
Yeah.
And that's and I know I have work to do, and you know, we can sit here and talk about my parents and family and how and all this stuff, but the truth of it is, it's like I don't even want to use that as a crutch anymore. You know, I had this moment last night, and I was like, my past it's not going to define me.
Yeah.
It was very clear to me, like, this shit is not going to define me. What's going to define me is the present, and who I presently am. This is who I am. I don't want to front. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to go online with a fake, you know, name and pretend like I'm someone else. This is who I am, and I truly believe that I'm full of love, and that's what I want to give. And there's nothing to be ashamed. And I used to actually be ashamed of that shit because I grew up not knowing what love is or thinking that love is weak, and loving people and supporting people is weak.
Yeah.
It's not weak at all. It's actually one of the best characteristics you can have. And it took me a long time, and I'm still learning that, you know, and I'm unlearning a lot of shit of why I feel that way. But man, it's like I just don't want to waste any more energy on the wrong stuff.
Right.
Like, it's all about energy, and I put so much energy into like negative thoughts, just negative energy, whether it's because I was like insecure or I didn't feel good about myself, and that projects. You know what I mean? Like, even if you try to pretend it doesn't, it shows in other ways. It's going to come out. It has to come out. You can't. It can't just stay bottled up inside of you. So I was like, man, fuck it. It's easier to just let go and be who you are and support people and be proud. And then I realized once I started doing that, like, the universe started opening up more, like, weirdly, like,
yeah.
Wow, like, you know, you stop lying or telling the truth. Like, things come to you. You start helping people. It comes back to you if it's genuine. So the trick to that is it has to be genuine. I mean, it's not even a trick, but if it's genuine, then how can it go wrong? If I truly help someone, if I truly love someone, if I truly put real positive energy into something, it can only come back in a positive way, you know? But if you put something negative out there, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back. Like, I truly believe in that.
Even if, like, when you say come back, I know my immediate thought is to think of something external, but even if it comes back internally, if it's your conscience.
Internal.
Yeah.
And in my case, it was anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it came back to me. Like, you can do anything, you know. I have all these sayings. So, whatever I say, don't nobody steal it. I'm putting patents on all this shit. But
you heard it here
coffee
first.
mugs, T-shirts. But, you know, I always say, like, you're the truest when you're alone and when no one's around. Yeah. And you know who you are. You know what I mean? And I think that because of, like, a lot of the stuff that I was dealing with growing up, and whether it was, you know, external stuff affecting me, that is like, at the end of the day, like, it was the anxiety that hurt me the most. You know what I mean? Like, that loud chatter, the intrusive thoughts, because you know who you are. That's something you can't fake internally. You know what I mean? You could project whatever you want in the world. You could pretend like you're a superhero. You could pretend like you're the best person in the world. You don't cheat. You don't lie. You don't steal. But at the end of the day, only you know who you are when it's time to look in that mirror. And I want to be able to look in that mirror and know exactly who I am. And I think once you start doing that and doing the work, then, man, that noise just started going down like that. You know, that it's like all those radio channels, because you don't have to deal with that internal BS no more. Like, you're shedding that, you know.
Yeah. And I know we talked about a few different things that helped you get to that path. And the thing that I honestly want to accomplish with this podcast and everything that I do is to help people have the motivation to start that journey themselves. And it's like, I bring people like you on because I can only talk from my experience, and what I did may not work for everybody, because I did a lot of psychedelics.
That could work for some people.
Yeah, I did jujitsu and kickboxing and all that, like, so I can test beliefs about myself. I went into the jungle, did ayahuasca for a week.
Shout out.
Like, that's not shout out.
Shout out to them diapers.
Shout out. Shout out to the diapers and buckets. But yeah, that might not be for everybody.
Right.
And people really have to be empowered to find what works for them, and to understand that there's no one size fits all solution, and there's no one that takes on this journey that's just going to have an easy time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's going to be tough, man.
But it's going to be tough either way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, don't do the work. Fucking, that's tough because look in the mirror. You know what I mean? Look in the mirror without flinching. Do the work. You got to deal with stuff. You got to be honest about things. You got to be real about that. It's the same amount of energy. It's like, what do I say? It takes the same amount to smile as it does to frown. You know what I mean?
Something like that.
I kind of made that one up. I was kind of guiding with that one.
Yeah, they probably say something like that.
Something
It sounds
like that.
about right.
But yeah, at the end of the day, man, it's like all of this stuff has been leading to like a journey of me just finding myself, being positive, wanting it for other people genuinely, and that has opened up so much for me right now. It's opened up a world where, you know, I work with, you know, you met the owners of the studios here, and that they've just been so supportive, and I feel like I've been able to extend that to my friends and family, and
including me, by the way, people. This podcast is here, and we're in this studio because of Sean sitting across from us.
Nah, it's because of
believing
who you are.
in people.
Like, this is totally your idea. You know, it's just a platform, and I believe that's how everything has to evolve and spread and show love. You know, you take my man Hugo right there. That's my dude right there. And he's always there supporting and helping people like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you keep that type of energy and world around you, how can you lose? It's like everybody's supporting and looking out for each other. It can only get better. And I'm not talking about like loan me $1 support. You know, you got some. No. I'm talking about be support for me if I need it, in the sense of like maybe you can help me on some positive shit. You know, like you've been very motivational. And I always mention Bonnie. She's been there for 12 years, motivational to me. But like you've been there for me in the sense of like, man, this brother went to UCLA and graduated, and you were telling me stories about how you would just you'd read the books yourself. You know what I mean? And be like, I can do this on my own. I'm just like, that's dope, man. You know what I mean? Like that's something to be very proud of. And I know most people probably watch, a lot of people watching this like, what? My whole family went to college, you know? It's like, but you got to remember, not everyone has the same story, and not everyone arrives at the same time and get to the same place. Doesn't mean that you can't get there. You know, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like I'm taking college classes on the weekend, you know, while I found a passion, but I'm doing it to pay myself like an educational debt that I owe to myself. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you should be. That shit is incredible, man.
You know? And yeah, it's like when I'm just proud of like the person I'm becoming, and that wasn't always the case. And now it's like I'm really, you know, because of this work, because of the support. You know, if you remember, I started off with like only had like 9 people and family that came out here. And even that is like a whole nother podcast. Yeah. You know, a podcast about, you know, dysfunctional family and trauma and all that stuff. But, and that, because of that, I didn't know what support looked like. Or I had an idea of like TV support or movies, you know. But I had it around me. I just didn't recognize it. I had people that genuinely cared, but I thought they had to care a certain way.
Yeah.
Because that's all like, well, this is what it should look like, or it's not black and white like that. So I love the community of people that I have around me. I love jiu-jitsu. I love my good friends that are just genuinely there to support and be there no matter what. I recognize the strong women that's been in my life, friends, you know, my sister. I'm just on these new discoveries, and I'm with it. I'm with it. So I'm team love. I'm team Sean, most importantly, because I had to really just get back to the self-love, man.
Yeah, man.
And that is what's really like my whole thing, self-love.
It has to start from there. Well, if it doesn't start from there, that has to be at least part of the midpoint or something. 'Cause
that has to be the whole point.
Yeah.
That has to be the whole point. You know what I mean? It's self-hate is it's destruction. Do you know what I mean? You can't live a life of hate or fear. You got to live a life of love, but you can't experience love unless you know how to self-love. And once you start self-loving, it's only right that you want to extend that to other people. I wouldn't give you a cup of water I wouldn't drink. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I wouldn't give you anything that I wouldn't do for myself or expect that. So that's where that comes from.
Definitely. And that's a tough part of the journey, man. That's where I am right now, still trying to figure that self-love out.
That's where it starts, right there.
And I spent years, like I said, doing a bunch of psychedelics, meditating. I started writing a bunch this year. Just, went through a lot of pain for it until I finally realized, like, goddamn, I need some help, man.
Yeah.
Like, I've hit it. I've gone as far as I can by myself. So, and that's helping in terms of, like, talking to people like you, talking to people like Liv, like talking to my friends, letting them know how I'm feeling, finding out that I do have support. And then on top of that, going to therapy, man.
Yeah, therapy.
Like, I'm a noob. I've only been to one session, but I get it.
I love it, man. That's my. Yeah. I might go too much, but I love it. Nah, dude, that's you're right where you need to be then. The start. That's it. There's no finish line tomorrow. You're starting. You're recognizing it, and it's dope. And you're a good person. So
are you, man.
You too, brother.
Oh, shit. Well, I won't take too much more of your time here. I feel like if we talk anymore, I'm going to start crying.
Yeah.
So
I'm feeling a little swell in my chest, too, but I don't know. That could be side control or emotions.
Drinking coffee at this hour. Who knows? All right, man. Do you have anything you want to shout out at all?
I want to shout out Buff Nerd, my boy. I want to shout out Bonnie Therapy. I want to shout out Hugo, Liv, Kill the Messenger. I am Omni-Fat. No, I'm saying.
I was like, oh, no. I made a mistake.
You take the mic.
Cut him off.
hit the credits.
Nah, a DJ Khaled joint.
I'm really happy you're doing this, man. This is you. This is great. This is awesome. I think you're already discovering. See, you're already on your journey. So it's little things like that. It's someone steps into your life, and I'm not that someone. I'm just saying the fact that you bring all these people around you is where it starts. I have certain people in my life that absolutely changed my life, and I have to be forever grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have to be, because I know who I want to be, and I see that person finally. Clears a picture. Just gotta walk towards him. You know what I mean? That's it. He's there.
Oh yeah, man. Well, thanks again for coming on here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. I didn't take off my shirt. I told him I was
There's still time. The camera's on.
No, I thought I was gonna do the whole interview with my shirt off. But I feel like it got too serious.
Well, I guess we have to bring you back for a part two.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who was gonna take me serious with my shirt off.
I would, man.
I'm talking.
Cool. Where you guys can find me at Terrence Davey or at buffnerdla.com. Thanks for listening in. I'll talk to you soon.
buffnerdla.com.
Yeah.